In a world dominated by men, in a world where traditional gender roles are ingrained into its culture, in the world of the katana-wielding Yakuza, one woman defied all odds, broke the chains of stereotypes, rose to the top, and surpassed all expectations. This is the story of FUMIKO TAOKO. FUMIKO TAOKO was born as Fumiko Fukuyama in 1920 to an average income family that ran a coffee shop. Growing up during the Great Depression, Fumiko's parents tried their best to give their daughter a good living. The Fukuyama family were getting by just fine, and Fumiko assisted when she could at the coffee shop. But this was all about to change. In the summer of 1923, when Fumiko was still in high school, her mother fell very ill. So young Fumiko had to be more present at the coffee shop to help her father out, and it was at this point she caught the eye of the future Yakuza godfather, Kawaza Taka, who was 20 years old at this point and serving as an apprentice for the Yamaguchi-gumi. Taoka was not an official member of the Yakuza at this point, and the great Yamaguchi-gumi was all but a small gang at the time. Taoka visited the coffee shop more often just to see Fumiko. But Fumiko's father detested this, as he hated the lifestyle of a gangster with a very strong passion. Most especially, the life of a dangerous gangster like Taoka, who was known as the Bear for his signature move of clawing at the eyes of his opponents during fights. He told his daughter to steer clear from Taoka, but Fumiko also fell in love with the gangster, and her father's words fell on deaf ears. However, just when Fumiko and Taoka were tightening their relationship, Taoka faced his first incarceration after he inflicted grievous bodily harm on a rival. This happened in October 1934, and he was sentenced to 1 year in prison. This broke young Fumiko's heart, and she went to the temple every day to pray for the return of her lover. In October 1935, Taoka was finally released, and awaiting him were a few members of the Yakuza who gave him a katana as a sort of welcoming ritual as he took his next step to becoming an official member of the Yakuza. Someone else was there that day, and this was none other than Fumiko. Happy to be reunited with her lover, they continued dating, and the very next year, Taoka asked for her hand in marriage. However, things didn't go as well as they feared. Fumiko's father was blinded with rage and swore that no daughter of his would ever get married to a gangster. He then forbade Fumiko from ever associating with Taoka. Being head over heels with love, Fumiko disregarded her father's order and continued dating Taoka. Her father learned of their secret relationship and angrily did the unthinkable. He disowned his own daughter. If you made it this far, how about you consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video? It really helps us out and allows us to keep bringing you high-quality content about the Mafia world. Thanks, we appreciate you. Yakuza era. With her father no longer associating with her, Fumiko decided to do as she pleased and moved in with Taoka, who was now a full-fledged member of the Yamaguchi-gumi. Fortune wasn't on the side of the young lovers though, as soon after, Taoka got involved in an altercation with a rival, which led to a murder in February 1937. He was arrested soon after this and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. This was a very trying time in Fumiko's life, as she found herself at a crossroad. After learning of Taoka's sentence, Fumiko's father finally contacted her and begged her to come home. So Fumiko was stuck. Would she stick to her lover when he needed her the most, or would she go back to her family? Love won, and she decided to go with Taoka. During this time, Fumiko did her part as his lover. She visited him frequently and even served as an intermediary between Taoka and the Yamaguchi gang. This made the members of the gang grow to value Fumiko more, and this was crucial in the near future. Thankfully, Tao only served 6 years in prison due to amnesty and was released in July of 1943. The couple was once again reunited, and the following year, they got married. Around this time, the Yamaguchi-gumi was left disintegrated due to World War II, but Taoka stepped up and became a key figure in not just restoring the gang, but also raising it up to greater heights. His contributions made him rise up the ranks really fast. And when Noboru Yamaguchi, the son of the founder of the Yamaguchi-gumi gang, died, Taoka was chosen to become the Kumicho. At the time he became the head, Yamaguchi-gumi was merely a crime family. But Taoka started a very aggressive expansion campaign with Fumiko at his right hand and grew the numbers to the thousands. Taoka didn't just manage illegal businesses, but moved with the changing times and also had legal businesses under his radar. He was involved in shipping, entertainment, and construction, and was not just growing his personal wealth, but the wealth of the syndicate as well. Fumiko worked just as hard as her husband, and when her husband was occupied with business matters, she took it upon herself to check up on incarcerated members. She cared for them like a true godmother, bringing them meals and even helping to oversee their businesses on the outside. She oversaw rackets and was a key peace mediator between rival gangs. Other gangs sought her out as a neutral mediator and often met with her to settle disputes. Fumiko was indeed the wife of a Kumicho and earned respect from that position. But the Yakuza saw her as more than a wife. They gave her the due respect of a proper Yakuza member because Fumiko proved that she was worth the reverence. Fumiko was always invited to important Yakuza meetings. Although she was a mother at this point, she proved to everyone that she could be both a mother and a godmother. Her husband Taoka was blessed to have a wife like her and was a bonus in helping him grow the Yamaguchi-gumi to the biggest Yakuza syndicate and remained strong through the 60s and 70s and the early 80s. Unfortunately, his reign was cut short when he died of a heart attack at the age of 68 in 1981, ascension to power. With the death of the most powerful Kumicho Yamaguchi-gumi had ever had, the syndicate fell into chaos. No one was suitable to fill in the shoes of Taoka. The men who could have managed were dead, and the other suitable man, Kenichi Yamamoto, was in prison. The elders decided to wait for Yamamoto to get out of prison, but he died of liver failure soon after. This brought a dark cloud on Yamaguchi-gumi, which didn't sit right with Fumiko. She was watching the syndicate she and her husband had built with blood, sweat, and tears fall into disarray. Therefore, she came out of mourning and stepped forward to lead the Yamaguchi-gumi. This was a very strange decision. The elders agreed that Fumiko was their best bet till a new male Kumicho could be selected. The other Yakuza members doubted, though. They agreed that Fumiko was a crucial figure in Yamaguchi-gumi, but didn't think the decision was a great one, as they felt the position of the head needed masculine energy as per their traditions. Fumiko took over nonetheless and showed the Yakuza that she was more than capable to head the biggest Yakuza syndicate. She took the mantle of power and started taking critical steps to stabilize the syndicate as fast as possible. One of the first things she did was arrange for the creation of a council of 8 bosses to run the syndicate and place herself at the top. At this time, she was 61 years old and was thriving as the first female Yakuza boss. She executed this role beautifully. Although she was always nurturing before her husband died, she became sterner to subordinates who disregarded her authority. The nurturing Fumiko became very cold and was ready to give out suitable punishments if any member acted out of line. Her subordinates soon grew to see the wise godmother they once revered her as and respected her leadership. Her wisdom was something they loved, and they valued her as their boss. Although she became tougher, she prioritized peace above all, and through her 3 years as boss of the Yamaguchi-gumi, there were no huge conflicts. The Yamaguchi also expanded under her rule, far beyond what her husband Taoka did. Membership grew to over a 13,000 figure, a feat no other Yakuza boss has ever been able to achieve. Numbers weren't the only thing she increased, as the Yamaguchi-gumi also saw expansion in their finances and strength as a syndicate. Under her iron rule, Yamaguchi-gumi expanded into 36 of Japan's 47 prefectures. Unfortunately, after about 3 years, her rule came to an end in 1984. As her parting gift to the syndicate, she opted for a younger Kumicho, Masaisha Takanaka, but this proved to be a very bloody decision. The runner-up for the position of the boss, Hiroshi Yamamoto, was furious that he was not selected. He felt that Fumiko's decision wasn't the best one, so in retaliation, he took about 3,000 members and created a new Yakuza group, Ichiwakai. He then ordered the assassination of the Kamicho. After the death of Takanaka, the next in command, Kazuo Nakanishi, and Yoshiniro Watabe declared an all-out war on Ichiwakai. This war proved to be the bloodiest Yakuza war Japan had ever seen and placed terror into the hearts of its citizens. This was the infamous Yamaichi War. With the war raging on, some members wished Fumiko never dropped the mantle. But Fumiko couldn't do much anymore, as her health was failing her. She died 2 years after dropping the mantle of power to liver failure at the age of 66. Fumiko died as the greatest female Yakuza boss and one of the best Yakuza bosses. The legacy she left behind paved the way for women in the Yakuza and stands as a beacon of resilience to all. Do you think the war wouldn't have broken out if Fumiko remained in power? Let us know in the comments below. And for more dark secrets of the underworld, subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell to never miss an update.